Hello everyone and welcome to SUTV Live, where we will be bringing you all of the build-up to this afternoon's game. The next 60 minutes or so are free to view to all Blades fans as Sheffield United play host to Swansea City right here at Bramall Lane. We've got lots on the way between now and kick-off at 3 p.m. We'll have the team news with you shortly and we'll hear from Conor Hourihane and manager Paul Heckingbottom. Adam Davies will share all about his football journey with us. And in an SUTV Live exclusive, we'll be hearing from George Baldock. To watch today's game, you will need to buy a match pass between now and 3 p.m. All of the broadcasting regulations relating to this afternoon's game can, as always, be found by going to sufc.co.uk. Well, a very good afternoon and welcome inside our studio here at Bramall Lane. Fairly quiet behind me right now, but in little under an hour's time, this will be a cacophony of noise as the home support looks forward to what they hope, and we hope, quite frankly, will be a Blades win. Those of you with a keen eye will have noticed a bit of squad rotation that went on in the studio on Tuesday night. Well, we're back to full strength this afternoon. We gave Kevin Gage a little rest in the commentary box on Tuesday. He's in the starting lineup from the off. Great to have you back here with us for pre-game, Kev, and confident, no doubt, of what we're going to see.
Always confident, yeah, always.
And alongside you, a man who can never be accused of shying of confidence either. Asaba, great to have you back on set.
Thanks. I'm a little worried I could be substituted halfway through this presentation.
Well, it's all about performance. Thanks very much, fellas. We'll come to you shortly, but first, some sad news this week as Sheffield United lost one of our own. Former manager Billy McEwen, who was in charge of the Blades between 1986 and 1988, died at the age of 70 earlier this week, and our thoughts and prayers go out to all his family and friends. Well, looking ahead to today's game, then starting first of all, Kevin, reflect on the last two games. 2 clean sheets, but no goals. 2 points collected, or was it 4 points dropped in that period?
Yeah, you should never underestimate the value of a point, of course. It's great to not lose, I should say. But it feels like, especially on Tuesday, it felt like 2 points dropped, if you know what I mean. I think we really needed to win that game. It's not a must-win game, but it was one that we should have come away with all 3 points, especially the way we played, because we played really, really well when you look back on the game. Yeah,
absolutely. Carl, you always wear your heart on your sleeve. I know there's some frustration from you on Tuesday night, but it was one of those games in hand. It was another point collected as well. It just kept the momentum going, didn't it?
Well, of course, we've come a long way, but I was really disappointed. I thought it was, well, the way the boys played. They played great, they created enough chances, and to walk away from that match thoroughly disappointed. It was 2 points dropped for me. You know, we did well away at Huddersfield, but again, we created chances and didn't take them, so that's frustrating.
And that, as much as anything, is a reflection on the good form that we've been in under Paul Heckingbottom as manager, is it not? We can look at that recent form now as well. No defeats, plenty of clean sheets. If you took it just on paper, you'd say that was fantastic, but it's that sense of expectation, that level that's risen, is it not?
Yeah, we've reached a level of performance now that kind of guarantees that we're going to create lots of chances. And it's just a question of can we create enough chances to be able to get a couple of goals. We've certainly had enough shots, we've had enough crosses going in. Defensively, we're solid at the back as well, which is a huge part as well. So you just feel like, we're at a level now. If we can just maintain that level, we're going to be still right up there at the death, and we'll win far more games than we lose.
And let's be honest, it wasn't creating chances that was the issue on Tuesday night. One of your frustrations, Carl, as a former striker, will have been seeing all the opportunities that were created and the fact that we just couldn't take one.
Yeah, of course, a striker, if you get on the pitch and you get 2 chances, you fancy yourself to take one. The fact that I think we had 35 plus attempts on goal, really, at this level, it's not good enough. You know, the manager afterwards, what can he say? The team did everything they asked except for put the ball in the net. So, you've got to pick them up. You've got to pick them up because they'll be disappointed, but basically you're not asking them to do anything different other than the final throw. The last moment has to have a bit more quality on it.
When we met Swansea earlier this season, way back in August, now it finished as a goalless draw. What do we expect from them today? Because in recent seasons, they've always been in the mix for the playoffs, haven't they?
Yeah, they're not a brilliant side. They have a lot of possession. They do like to keep the ball, sometimes for possession's sake as well. They don't go too far with it. And I think I've just been told actually off camera that they're the only team in the division with more possession than us. I think it's something like they average 65% possession, which is an awful lot. So it's going to be an interesting battle today, because usually we expect us to out-possession most sides. So I think it might be a question today where we have to be a little bit patient, because Swansea might have a more than normal supply of the ball. You know, the fans might have to be a bit patient as well if Swansea keep the ball quite well. So yeah, they're not brilliant, but they're a championship side, aren't they? They're no mugs. They're going to give us a good game.
Well, we can look at their recent form as well now. Managed by Russell Martin, just 36 years of age, 3 defeats, 2 wins in those last 5 games, Carl. One of them, notably, coming against Blackburn Rovers. Yeah,
it looks like they were able to weather a storm as well. To get a 1-0 victory against Blackburn's a great result. But as Kevin said, they pass, I feel, very much like how we did at the start of the season with Slav. You were passing to pass the ball. Now under Hecky, there's a rhythm to it. You're passing to go one side, and then if it's not on, you're coming back. But there's always an end, goal. So Swansea will be just trying to keep the ball. At least they won't be trying to waste time after 2 minutes like Hull. They'll be trying to play the ball. But, it's going to be patience today, patience.
And I suppose if you're looking for a comparison, Kevin, as well, that goalless draw back in August, there was some rumblings of discontent about the style in which Sheffield United approached the game. We're off the back of 2 goalless draws here, but there's none of that feeling right now. Everybody is well behind Paul Hecky bottom list.
Yeah, 100%. You can't compare the two, the 2 games from months and months ago. We're a completely different outfit now. I think we play with a lot more purpose. We keep possession of the ball, but it's with some kind of end product as well. We get the ball wide, as Carl's just saying. We get shots in, we get crosses in. There's purpose to our play. So I'm not taking any notice of that 0-0 down there, and it's an easily forgotten game as well, because it was a terrible game, hardly any chances at either end. I think today will be a much better game. There might be a bit of possession football, but it'll be thrills and spills, and we'll make sure there's some end product at the end of it.
And no doubt as well, it'll be a big day, a big occasion for the likes of Reece Norrington-Davies, Conor Hourihane, Ollie McBurney et al., players that have played for Swansea and now obviously coming up against them with Sheffield United. In your career, Carl, how did you approach those games playing against a former team? Did you always feel you wanted to prove something?
Well, you wanted to prove something every training session. Me, I'd be happy if I got a sock on successfully. But obviously there's added spice. They'll have friendships in the other gang, but it's no different. You want to win every match you're on, and they're thoroughly professional, and they're not going to let anything cloud their performances.
For Ollie McBurney in particular, Kevin, does this game resonate a little bit more given his ties with Swansea?
Yes, because I think he's turned into a bit of a Swansea fan as well. I know his loyalty is with his employers at Sheffield United, but I mean, he goes to away games and things like that. He has done in the past, hasn't he? So, yeah, but Carl's right. There is something a little bit special about playing for one of your former clubs, especially if you've done quite well there. You want to go back and prove a few things to some of the fans and just do well for yourself, really.
Let's take a look at that league table then, because it's been tight all season. No different coming into today's game. Sheffield United still with games in hand on the vast majority of clubs around them. 2 points behind Middlesbrough. A win with help elsewhere could be a top 6 place by tonight.
Yes, 100%. I think the quicker we can get in that top 6, I think the happier everybody will be for obvious reasons. But it's going to be easier to get in the top 6 and stay there than keep trying to, have these games in hand and wondering if we get 4 points there, if we get 2 points there, 3 points there, can we catch Middlesbrough, can we catch Forest? Let's just get there, and then we can maintain that position. We are the ones to catch.
And for me, the goal difference, now our defence, they're solid, they're looking great, and they're not giving anything away. People are scoring. If they score, they're scoring a good goal against us. We've now got to start actually scoring goals. We need someone or a partnership to come to help Billy, because at the moment it's Billy, we're depending on Billy, it's Billy. It's great to have the go, but someone else has got to chip in and help him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at the starting 11 then, going into today's game against Swansea City. and there are 3 changes to the side that fought out that goalless draw in midweek against Hull. John Fleck returns to the starting lineup, alongside him Sander Berger as well, and the man that Carl was just talking about there, Billy Sharp, captain courageous, back in the starting lineup from the off. What do we make of that?
Big one, big. Obviously, during the week I've been going on about McBurney getting a run in the team and to get his sharpness. Obviously, I'm disappointed that he's not starting from that point of view, from a striker's point of view, but the manager knows his boys inside out, so for him to make these changes, he's making them to put on the best team that he feels can win the match, and of course I'm happy to see Billy starting.
And Kevin, noticeable there that there's changes in midfield, a change up front, but that defensive structure, which has been so impressive over the last few weeks, nothing's changed.
Yeah, well, we were talking earlier, the forwards get rotated and we change the midfield, and we've got Berger and Fleck in today. But the one thing that never changes is the defenders. They just keep going and going and going week in, week out. You know, and that's where we've got our solidity from, and that's where we're looking so strong at the back there and secure. But you do understand how Hecky has come out and stated, hasn't he, publicly, he's going to have to rest players, he's going to have to juggle with his players. I must admit, I'm a little bit surprised at the selection. I'm not surprised that McBurney's not starting, because I thought he was looking a bit laboured, especially second half of the game the other night. And he's been out ill, he's been out injured as well. So 2 games in the space of that week, it's probably taken its toll. So I understand that one. The big call, of course, is Fleck and Berg back in midfield. We hope and we think that Berger might be playing that kind of right-hand side role where he can just get forward and support the front players, you know, because we're a little bit lightweight up front. Billy doing the job that Billy Sharp does so well. He'll be sniffing around and doing his work.
He did outstanding.
He's been fantastic, yeah. Oh, Berger was superb when he came on. Absolutely superb. And I think he does do well when he comes on, doesn't he? He seems to do better when he comes on than he actually does when he starts games, weirdly. So yeah, important that whether it be Berger, whether it be Fleck on the other side, we're a little bit lightweight up front with Gibbs White and Billy Sharp, so they need support up there, and hopefully Berger will be one of those, you know, driving forward to give them.
It's a fine line though, isn't it, Carl? Because with the fixture backlog, it's games every 2-3 days now, and for Paul Heckingbottom, it's that balancing act, isn't it, between getting your best team on the field and picking up points, and making sure you don't pick up any more injuries and keep everyone fresh.
Of course, we were talking before. I prefer. You play the game that's in front of you, but your best team, try and get the 3 points. If you lose 4 players for injury, then you deal with the next match afterwards, but get the 3 points first. But everything we say is easy because we are not making the decisions. The manager knows his players, he knows what's best, and you've got to go with him.
I think you've played your best football of your career in the studio, to be honest, Carl.
I have.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the game then. Just before we came on air, I had a chance to catch up with Rhys Norrington-Davies. Rhys, thanks for taking the time to join us on SUTV Live. It's been a good run since the turn of the year for the Blades. What's the spirit like in the camp right now?
Yeah, no, the spirit's good. Obviously, morale's high. As you say, it's been a good run, quite a lot of wins. We just need to obviously keep on building on that, and obviously hopefully get a positive result today.
Yeah, and from a defensive perspective as well, just 1 goal conceded in the last 6. You and the lads at the back must be delighted with that, aren't you, at the moment?
Yeah, no, obviously keeping the clean sheet's a good platform to obviously go and win the game. Obviously, if you don't concede, obviously gives you a massive step up to win that game.
What's been the biggest change to the way you're playing now compared to the start of the season? Because there's a noticeably more solid at the back there.
Yeah, no, the manager's obviously gone back to basics. He's got us working hard. Obviously, it's all about work ethic, and then obviously being good on the ball, and then obviously just making sure we press high up the pitch and obviously turnovers. But no, he's got us working good again. And
without giving away the game plan or too many trade secrets, how do you approach this game against Swansea this afternoon?
Obviously, pretty much the same. Obviously, as I say, you've got to do the basics right first. Obviously, work rate. And obviously we've been working on it this week, how we're going to approach this game in particular, and we're going to go out on the pitch and obviously demonstrate that to the fans this afternoon. Okay, Rhys, thanks for your time. I wish you the best of luck and go well. Yeah, cheers, thanks. Great. Rhys Norrington-Davies giving us a few moments of his time as he prepares for this afternoon's match. Kevin, quite interesting there. When I asked him what the difference was between earlier this season and now with Hecky in charge, he said it was simple. We just went back to basics.
Yes, it's how the club's been set up, isn't it? All the defenders know their role. You know, it's been happening for the past 4 or 5 years. Norrington Davies will have been brought up through the under-23s to do that wing-back role, so it's second nature to him. And we've got players at the back there. We've got round pegs in round holes, haven't we? Egan's brilliant in the middle of a three. Basham. I mean, what hasn't been said about Basham? He's fantastic on that right centre back, and Baldock, you know, on the wing back, he's up and down all the time. It suits him. So defensively, they all know their jobs. They know what's expected of them, and they're just putting in levels of performance every week. You know, we're looking at a very, very, very difficult side to break down. I'd also mention at this stage the goalkeeper's done fantastically well. I think he inspires confidence. He hasn't had an awful lot to do, but what he's done very, very well and calmly.
Come up with big saves, big times.
Occasionally, yeah, but it's just his general demeanour. He exudes like calmness and confidence, I think.
And Carl, from a forwards perspective, what does it do for your game when you know that the chances are you're not going to ship any goals at the back?
Oh, it's brilliant because it takes a bit of pressure off you that you're not trying to score. At the start of the season, we were trying to score not to lose. You know, we'd invariably always give a goal away. Now, when you're going onto the pitch, you know, and it also gives you the excitement that you could be getting the winning goal because those guys aren't letting in a goal. You've got a clean sheet to defend, and you can make you the hero of a day. So the team's really come together. It's, you know, completely unrecognisable about how the team is structured and the organisation and the understanding from Slav's days. You know, same set of players basically, and it's completely chalk and cheese. And just testament to Hecky and his coaching staff. They've done a great job so far. Yeah,
absolutely. Complete turnaround in quality of performance, and that was on display again on Tuesday night when Sheffield United took on Hull City.
As the Greasy Chickpotty song rings around Bramall Lane, we're underway. Planted to aim out in the middle. Again, it's gone to the edge of the box, and that was Norwood with the strike. And it goes from Norwood, a chance there, and Robinson holds his head. Howrahan on the run, in goes the cross. Not the best of clearances. Gibbs White takes a deflection and loops over the bar. Lewis Potter from a long way out. Gibbs White chests it down. High break for Njayi. Njayi into the penalty area. Njayi. McBurney setting off after this, and it's fallen kindly for McBurney. Tight angle, McBurney hits it straight at Ingram. Gibbs White to Njayi, back to Gibbs White, and Njayi again. Those two combining nicely. Here's Norwood, in goes the cross. McBurney jumps. Gets a decent connection to it, but it's over the bar. Norwood's corner, not the best. That might be the last action of the first half. It is. There is the half-time whistle. Norwood, early ball into the penalty area, looking for McBurney. Decent connection, tough chance. Morgan Gibbs White is on his bike and he's over halfway and he's got plenty of options right and left. Look at Egan stringing them forward. It's going to come to Njayi. Brilliant save. He was out quickly, Ingram. It's Howrahan. It's just wide. I think it's deflected. It will be a corner kick. Ollie Norwood. In it goes. And it's Robinson, I think, with the telling touch. It's over the bar. Lewis Potter. Longman. That's a wonderful effort, and it's just wide. Another Norwood corner. McBurney heads it over. Reece Norrington Davies, it's going into the mixer. Egan's still up there. Egan gets onto it. And it goes from Norwood. Flick behind. Is there time for this corner kick? Norwood to deliver. Norwood's cross. Away by Eves. And there's the full-time whistle. Frustration for Sheffield United.
A goalless draw in the end then. Another point for the Blades to bring us within 2 now of 6th place Middlesbrough, who occupy the last of those playoff spots. I think it's a testament to the quality of that performance that whilst we're watching those highlights back in the studio, we're arguing which was the best chance. Yeah,
to create that many chances in a championship match against local opposition is brilliant. You can't ask for more. You turn up, if you see 4 or 5 good chances in a match, it's normally, you know, you've enjoyed your match. But that game, the boys did everything right, except it just didn't go in, and you can have days like that. It's when you're not creating a chance, that's when you really worry, and you know, we really played some good football.
Yeah, and to that end, Kevin, as well, the lads kept going right to the very end, and in 93rd minute, I think they had a chance to win it with Reece Norrington Davies.
Yeah, you expect that, only from a Sheffield United side, especially playing at home. You know, there's everything to play for. But it's just really fine margins, isn't it? You know, we just talked about McBurney's shot there, but also the Gibbs White chance that just deflected over the bar. And we played West Brom the other week, Billy Sharp had a shot. Took a big deflection and has gone in the net. We're 1-0 up. Everybody's happy. You know, that same scenario could have played out there quite easily, and we could have easily won that game, you know, 2 or 3-0 on another night. So as Carl said, as long as we keep creating the chances, then you have to believe that we'll get enough shots on target and we'll score more goals than we're going to concede. We're going to win more games.
It was interesting. Chris Morgan was obviously in studio with us on Tuesday night, and he said at the end, despite the frustration not getting the win, it was another point gained on the road potentially to promotion. And in a division like this, there are plenty of teams like Hull City, like Swansea coming into town today. And those are the games you've got to make sure, if you don't win, you definitely don't lose.
Yeah, as I said earlier, you can't underestimate a point, but you just get the feeling. I get the feeling today we need to beat Swansea, because the next 3, looking ahead to the next 3 home games, Blackburn, Notts Forest, Middlesbrough, I mean, they're all our promotion rivals. I mean, it's asking a lot to beat all 3 of them. You know, so we'd like to, of course we would. But there's teams coming down here like Cardiff, Barnsley, QPR, some of the others. Some of the other teams towards the end of the season, they're the home games that we absolutely need to win.
And to that end then, Carl, is it a case of you don't look past Swansea today? Because if you look at that fixture list, you suddenly think this could be the make or break part of the season.
Yeah, that's been frustrating me, the way we've been looking. If we win these next 3, we're here, and we'll just win the game, the next game, the next game. It was 2 points dropped for me, because I get a lot of stick because people say, oh, you love this team, you love that, your best mates. No, I just think these are a very good bunch of footballers, and I believe on 99% of the matches our players are good enough to win. So today, if we don't win, I'll be frustrated. Wednesday I was frustrated, but we did everything right. But we are a better team, we've got better players, we've paid more money and we're paying bigger wages. I expect us to put in the performances, and the boys did the other day. Unfortunately, they didn't get the result. And today I feel if our players turn up and play how Hecky wants them to, with the passion they've shown over recent weeks, we'll win this comfortably. But that's as long as we turn up and put everything in.
Well, you mentioned the manager Paul Heckingbottom there. Let's hear what he had to say following that goalless draw on Tuesday night. And he started by saying he felt it was 2 points dropped.
Well, Paul, does that feel like 2 points dropped?
Yeah, well, it is. If you reflect on the performance, it is. Yeah, so listen, we're disappointed, but we can't beat ourselves up over that. We know why we've not won. Simply, we didn't take one of the many chances. That's it. And on another day, if teams come and try and sit behind the ball like that and make it difficult for us, if we play like that, we'll win the games. But today wasn't one of those days, and it's simply because we just didn't take one of the chances that we made.
Most unfortunate, McBurney perhaps not to score one of the 2 or 3 he had today.
He had a couple of headers. He had the one where he got down the side of the centre-back, cut inside. I don't think the keeper knew too much about that one, if I'm honest. And then the ball dropped. Instead of it dropping to Morgan or Illiman, it's dropped to the defender. So that was the story of the game, weren't it? You know, all those little moments where you'd take a scruffy goal, they just weren't going to drop. And then the other ones we had, whether they were one-on-ones, whether they were good combination play, getting in down the sides, or the chances from set plays, we just didn't take one. And then the pattern of the game is just going to get even more set, which is them sitting in, trying to counter. And listen, I'm not going to take anything away from them. That was their game plan, and they defended the box well. But we should have won.
He looks at the minute like a striker toiling, I suppose, Ollie McBurney, doesn't he? And it just isn't happening for him, for want of a cliched type of thing to look at it.
Yeah, but he's not been playing. That's the difference. His fitness was good today. His role for the team was good. He showed what he is in the air. And as we say, and all the other players, we could be speaking about a totally different thing. I've just been looking at the stats in there and 1 or 2 of the chances and penalty appeals, and listen, it should have been a different story, but it wasn't, and we know why.
The thoughts of manager Paul Heckingbottom there, and I wonder, Kevin, to what extent it gives us an insight into his mindset that he did come out and say it was 2 points dropped, whereas so often you might hear a manager say, well, it's another point gained, it's a long season.
Yeah, I do like the way he speaks to the press and to the public, etc. Because he doesn't sugarcoat things, does he? He says it like it is, and that's what the fans want to hear. There's no point pulling the wool over our eyes and trying to pretend something's happened that it hasn't. Because we're watching it with our own eyes, aren't we? We can make our own opinions, and the communication, I think, is one of his strengths. I think he talks a really, really good game, and from our point of view as well. And I think that sets him apart from previous manager, where I think communication was a real problem. So yeah, fair play to him. I really like listening to him, and I think he comes out and says all the things I, as a fan, want to hear.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to matter whether it's actually in the TV interview room or it's in the press conference afterwards. Carl, he calls it pretty much as it is.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot for local radio, and after the matches, I've been going into the press room, sitting at the back and keeping my hands down, because I know I'll try and ask. But I'm fascinated to hear what he says. And the other night, as I've said many times, I was really frustrated. But then immediately he allays all your frustrations, because he's saying what you've seen, and he's saying, well, I share the same. And if the manager's saying that he's seen what you've seen, he's going to try and rectify exactly what you have concerns about. And I think he's been fascinating. For me to sit in on press conferences after, I've been told I can go home, it says something. He's a really, really great manager. He communicates so well, and, we're really lucky to have him.
Yeah, I think that also probably reflects us with the team. I think what you've said there and what we've said about his communication skills, I think it's probably exactly the same in the dressing room. I think the players are responding to not sugarcoating stuff and just saying like it is, and just telling players what's expected and giving them praise when they need it. And I think that's a big part of our success.
Well, I was going to say, you both played here at Bramall Lane under two no-nonsense managers, Dave Bassett for you, Gagey, obviously Neil Warnock for you, Carl. As a player, do you prefer that? Everybody knows where they stand. It's not one message outside of the dressing room and one that's different inside it. 100%.
That's the best way to get honesty from a player is letting them know what's expected, and once that person hits the expectations and what's expected of them, to tell them that. And it just makes it so much easier. And I think you'll notice the last couple of weeks, the engagement between the fans and the players. Away at Huddersfield, they were back together. Away at Birmingham, it's been wonderful to see. 7 games unbeaten. This is going to be a hard atmosphere for Swansea to deal with.
And when you are united, Gagey, fans off the pitch, players on it, management, it's not overestimating it to say it can actually win you points.
100%, yeah, especially at a club like Sheffield United. I think there needs to be a connection between the players, the manager and the fans as well. Through all of our good periods that we've had over the last generation, I would say, going back to my days with Bassett and then Carl with Warnock, but also recently with Wilder, to a certain extent Danny Wilson, because he's a local lad. But there was always a connection with the fans, and we've always been as one, united, for want of a better word. And I think we need that. And I think Hecky's in the same vein. I think people appreciate what he's trying to do, especially what the club have come out with and said, how we're going to build for the next 3 or 4 years. I think the fans appreciate what we're trying to do or what's going to be happening, and we have to get behind them, which they are, of course.
Well, let's hear from one of those players that was involved on Tuesday night and get an insight into what the mindset is in that dressing room. Let's hear from Conor Horan.
3 points, it wasn't to be. Obviously we got a point at the weekend, so to back it up tonight with a win would have been great. But look, it's another point on the board. 2 0-0s in a row. I suppose the negatives are we're not scored in the last 2 games. The positives are the clean sheets. So, yeah, hopefully, we'll get a couple of goals at the weekend and get the win.
I suppose the other side to that is you are creating chances. It's not like chances are not being created. I mean, you were creating for fun this evening, weren't you?
Yeah, we did. Look, we had chances, like you said. There's no point naming any names on who missed them or what chances were missed. But look, we did have chances. Did create them. That's a positive. Like you said, it was one of them nights where if we got one, it would have probably ended up being 2 or 3, but we just couldn't get that goal. And look, that happens sometimes. And if you don't win them, you at least take a point from it and move on. I
suppose you would echo the frustrations of the unnamables, of the chances that were missed, not just today, of course, but in the last game as well.
Yeah, look, the lads have been doing great since Hecky's come in. Been no finger pointing at anyone. It's a collective win and lose together or draw, whatever it may be. So, yeah, look, we had chances tonight. There's no doubt about that, and we just have to head into the weekend now and hopefully put a couple away.
The thoughts there of Conor Hourihane. We talk about the defensive solidity that Hecky and the team have brought to this side. It's really highlighted there in that graphic. 11 games, 7 clean sheets, Kevin. That's an astonishing turnaround from the way they started the season.
That's really good going, isn't it? You don't realise how good it is until you see it in that kind of format. Yeah, I mean, I've already mentioned the goalkeeper. I think it kind of radiates from him. Early season with Olsen, he was giving me the jitters, and I'm sat upstairs in the studio. So I don't know what the players felt like, but yeah, all the defence I think have just come on leaps and bounds. But as I mentioned earlier when we were talking 5 minutes ago, it comes with everybody knowing their defensive duties, being in the right position at the right time. The fullbacks doing their job, wing-backs doing their job, Basham, Egan, it's been Davies, it's been Robinson, who's really performed well, I think, in the few games he's come back into the side. Won a lot of really good defensive headers at key times. I don't think he lost the defensive duel at Huddersfield, I think. But not just winning any old header on the halfway line. He's been winning headers where good quality crosses have been coming in or good set pieces, and he's been the first one up, knocking them away. So yeah, I just think they're a really good unit at the back there.
It was just 3 clean sheets in the first 19 games this season, Carl. Obviously, we've spoken a little bit about Conor Hourihane and Ollie Norwood's relationship and partnership in the centre midfield. Hourihane gets a bit of a rest starting on the bench today, but what has changed significantly just on the eyeball test?
Definitely the structure. They understand where they have to be and their relationship to other players. I thought Hourihane and Norwood's partnership has been brilliant. I feel he's very unlucky not to be playing today, Hourihane. But it's now the team goes. You can watch just the shape of the team, and when the ball moves from the right to the left, the whole team shuffle across and reorganise in relation to the ball. And that wasn't, it sounds straightforward, but that wasn't happening under Slav. And it's quite simple work, but the boys do it so well. They know when to press, and the boys are winning the ball quick up the field because the forwards know what to do. They're all pressing well as well.
We've just been seeing some footage there from earlier in the season. You mentioned it, Robin Olsen in goal there, Kevin. You just don't see that chaos in the penalty area in recent times.
Yeah, a bit harsh maybe, chaos, but I know what you're getting at. I mean, Olsen was fumbling a few things. I'm not saying it's all down to him, of course it's not. I think we were actually a little bit unfortunate early in the season. We just saw some of the goals there. We were getting centre halves having shots from outside the box against Millwall in the last minute that were rifling, going past 3 of our players who were trying to get a block in, rifling into the far corner. Sometimes you just get run of games where you go, oh no, it's happened again, last minute goal. You can't do an awful lot about it. But it's just, over a period of time, you just hope that your defenders will do their jobs, will keep doing the right things, and you will stop conceding those silly goals. And it has to happen if the defenders are doing the jobs.
And quite clearly, whatever Paul Heckingbottom and Stuart McCall have been saying on the training ground, it's got through on the evidence of what we've seen, particularly in the last 7 games.
Yeah, they both, and Jack as well, they're able to communicate what's wanted and what's expected, and the boys are responding. Response to Kev, I actually thought also I've seen better goalkeeping performances from Jagielka in the Blade shirt than Olsen. So his moving on I think has helped the team as well. But the boys they're taking in what the manager's saying so well.
Yeah, a big part of the defensive solidity at the moment as well is Basham coming back, of course. Yeah. I mean, how he was left out, we do not know. It was purely because Slav wanted to play his 4 at the back, so something had to give. But Basham coming back is a huge benefit. Yeah, and we know what Basham gives to the side, not just in an attacking sense, but he's a damn good defender as well. Really good centre half. And
you mentioned it earlier, Kevin. This unity off the field, on the field. In your playing days, did your best times come in teams and at clubs when everybody was pulling together? Oh, undoubtedly, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I'm not harking back to all my time, but I mean, I grew up with the Dave Bassett era in the old crazy gang at Wimbledon, and my word, we were a close-knit unit. It's kind of, he installed the mentality. A bit we saw it at Sheffield United as well. It was us against the world. We were battling everybody, and we would come out on top. So yeah, I think the club has to be united. And as I've already mentioned,
I think Sheffield United always do best as a team and as a football club when they have that connection. They are united with the manager and the fans all in it together.
But when Bogle scored the other day, and the person who went over to him was Baldock, I thought that encapsulated everything. That it is a unified squad, and they're all in it together. And I think the manager's transfer window, he's got away the players who maybe were a little more individual and not part of that group. And I think the manager's done such a big job. He's done so many important things in such a short time, whereas we're judging him already now, when next season is really when you're going to see a real hecky team. So he's just brought us, 6 months ahead of where we should be, I feel.
That's a really good point, Carl, to be fair. The transfer window, you've got your squad of people, but there are some players in there, I'm not going to call them bad eggs, but they're not contributing much to it, and the players know who they are, and it's important to get those people away from the club so everybody else...
And it brings animosity from the fact, because they know they could be big earners, and they're not actually contributing. And just to move them out of the focus helps the rest of the boys no end. I think he's done incredible.
Those special times that you refer to when you were playing, I mean, for you, Carl, I'm guessing it was the 2003 season when you had the cup runs and got to the old Division 1 playoff final. For you, Kevin, I'm guessing it was the Houdini acts and the Great Escapes. Give us an insight as a player. What does it feel like? What changes? What's the emotion out there on the pitch?
Wow, it was that long ago, it's difficult to remember.
You're not that old.
You just feel like you're part of something, I think is the best way to say it. I already mentioned the Wimbledon thing, the rise through the divisions. You felt like you were creating history and you were part of something really special. I got that feeling at Sheffield United when I joined, bottom of the league when I joined. We ended up 9th in that season, and so you just get on a roll and everything seems to go okay, and you've got some good players around you, and Dave Bassett installed that fighting spirit into the team, got the crowd on side, and it just keeps rolling along. The momentum just keeps going and going. I think Chris Wilder did that spectacularly well as well for the last 3 or 4 years.
For me, as a striker, where you're selfish and it's all about your name on a paper on Sunday, being part of a team, a proper team ethic, just took all the pressure away. It didn't matter if you didn't score. As long as you put in your shift, everybody appreciated you. And for me, the best moments were normally when other players scored. When Pesky Salido got the oh my God goal, it wasn't me, I was off the pitch, there's a shock, but I'd run myself into the floor for 110 minutes. And for him to score, it was as good as me scoring, because I was part of that group. And that's what's happening here. You can see they're doing the hard work for one another. You've got players like Brewster, I said at the start of the season, well, early in the season away at Hull, he was playing right midfield. In the 90th minute, he's tracking back. He's our record signing who's being criticised for not scoring, but he's tracking back in the right midfield. So I think we've got great characters in the squad. And now we've got a great coaching staff and management who's getting everything out.
I think managers sometimes say, you hear them say, don't you, that the players in the team are not the ones you have to worry about. They're happy, aren't they? It's keeping everybody else in the squad happy. That's the real key to good man management. So yes, they will get a chance in the team, but everybody's in it together. They're all pulling in the same direction, and that's where we're going to get our success, especially with the amount of games we've got to play in the next 7, 8, 9 weeks, something like that.
Well, that's a perfect segue into what is coming up, Kevin, because the games come thick and fast. Sheffield United back in action again on Wednesday, 7:45 p.m. kickoff. Paul Walker will be in the hot seat alongside Michael Tong and Kevin Gage. Once again, SUTV live on air from 7 p.m. And then a week today, 3 p.m. kickoff. The Blades back on the road. John Rawling will guide you through that one alongside Brian Dean and Kevin Gage. Sheffield United at Millwall. SUTV live on air from 2 p.m. And don't forget, the winter sale is in full swing. Now, if you missed out over Christmas and there's some Blades gear that you've got your eye on, now is the time to get it with 50% off all kit and training wear. Okay, let's have a look at one of the players that was brought in during the January transfer window. We caught up early this week with reserve keeper Adam Davies as we take a look back at his football journey.
So you were born in Germany, weren't you? So is it in the States that your dad was in the army over there?
Yeah, my dad was in the army, so I was born in a military hospital over in Germany. yeah, we weren't there for long, and then we come back to England, and then we moved back out to Germany for a few more years, and then eventually moved to Warrington, and my dad left the army, and family have been there ever since.
What was it like sort of growing up in Germany? How old were you when you were kind of living there?
I would have been 7 or 8. Yeah, from memories that I can remember, it was a British camp, so everyone was British on there. Yeah, not really too many memories that I can remember, but I do remember, you know, the camp and stuff like that, and going to school there.
I imagine it's quite different from what people might have experienced growing up elsewhere if you're kind of growing up on an army base. But
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, so you got into, was it Everton, your first career? Were you an Everton fan as well, is it?
No, I was actually a Liverpool fan,
Liverpool fan, right, okay.
Yeah.
So what was that like then, as a Liverpool fan going in as a
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, once you get to work a little bit with the first team, obviously I was a youth academy player, worked my way up into the reserves, and, you know, got to play with, well, train with, sorry, the first team, and you get to know the lads there and stuff. Yeah, you kind of get a bit more neutral because you obviously know the lads personal, but yeah, great club Everton was, you know, learnt my bread and butter there, worked with one of the best goalkeepers at the time, Tim Howard, who, you know, it was great with me, you know, coming up, giving me lots of tips and lots of advice. Still carry that through now to today, so.
A little under 20 minutes to go to kick off here at Bramall Lane. There's a nice atmosphere building up outside the studio, inside the stadium. Let's take a look at the team news, starting first of all with the visitors, Swansea City. A couple of changes for them. Cham comes in alongside Latibaudiere. Obafemi drops to the bench. Wolf isn't involved at all. What do we make of that, Kevin Gage?
Well, I don't know too much about Swansea, but as we already mentioned, they are possession-based team, really big on possession. So they actually out-possession us, as we mentioned earlier, something like 65% average this season. So the people who make them tick is Downs and Grimes in midfield. So it's going to be an interesting battle there, because Norwood, I don't want him to get overloaded and outnumbered in midfield, which is why maybe Berger and Fleck have been brought in to just maybe make that a little bit more solid, because Swansea might have a bit more of the ball. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. And then I think it's Pirro, is it, up yep. front? He's the main striker, of course. He gets their goals. Whether he plays as a main striker or floats around as a number 10, but he's certainly one of the danger men. Yeah,
top scorer with 12 goals in the Championship this season. Carl, only 3 wins on the road for Swansea, so the feeling would be if the Blades can get an early goal, this could be a good day for them.
Yeah, but as we saw the other day, they're going to be in for an onslaught. The way the boys are, the confidence will be high. The Bramall Lane fans are completely behind the team, and I think it's going to be a very tough proposition for this Swansea team. You know, on Tuesday night, if we would have scored in the first 10 minutes, that was going to be 4 or 5. So they're going to have their work cut out. I'm completely I'm hoping for a comfortable 2-3-0 win. And I think Swansea are going to need to keep possession just to stop our attacks, you know, not even to try and form attacks of their own, just to stop the onslaught, because our boys, it's like a wave after wave, and then you get Gibbs White doing flicks and tricks, and the fans are, you know, it's a hard place to come to with these players here and the fans. The atmosphere is really, really immense.
Well, we'd certainly take a 2 or 3-0 Blades victory. Let's have a look at the Sheffield United starting 11. We mentioned earlier 3 changes, notably, obviously Billy Sharp comes back to lead the side up front, but John Fleck and Sander Berger in midfield. We've seen changes into midfield in each of the last 3 games. Is that because the manager is so conscious he needs to keep these players fresh?
I think that's the main reason. Yeah, Hecky's already come out and said that's what he's going to have to do. I mean, we've mentioned it earlier, but I'm with Carl. I think you just keep playing your best side and just get the lads out there that you consider your best team. Yes, you might have to change one person round, you know, if someone's got a knock or a slight injury. But the good thing about our shape and our formation is we don't change tactically. We just keep playing the same way. We can interchange the personnel, but it's not as if we're going to suddenly go with 3 up front or anything like that, or 4 at the back. So we know exactly who fits where. Big question for me today is Sander Berger, to be fair. I know we joke about it every week, you know, what's his best position? Where's he going to play this week? But he needs to, if he's going to start this game, I want him to start the game the way he kind of finishes some games, because he comes on as sub and he's magnificent. Second half of games against Huddersfield, he made a real impact when he was driving forward. Sometimes it seems to take him a whole half to get into the game. So straight from the first whistle, I want to see him driving down that right-hand side and actually making things happen.
We'll discuss the striking options available to Paul Heckingbottom shortly, but first of all we're going to hear from one of those strikers. He starts on the bench today, Ollie McBurney, in the series' first and last.
First and last then with Ollie McBurney. The first football match you ever attended?
It'll have probably been a Leeds game. The one that I can remember will be in one of maybe the semi-final of the Champions League. I think that's one of the earliest memories I can have of being at a football game. Must have been about 4 years old.
The first pair of football boots you owned?
Predators, Adidas Predators, like the old school black, red and white ones. I think they had the tongue like coming over the bop as well. So.
Your first footballing idol?
Brazilian Ronaldo when I was growing up. Not just because of his barnet as well. I was a fan of him. I tried to get that at the hairdressers.
Your first trophy that you won?
It'll be one of them galas, you know, like when you're a kid, you got them ones in the summer with the tournaments. Probably about under 6 or under 7s galas with the boys.
The first car you ever bought?
It was a Volkswagen Polo when I was in the youth team at Bradford. I was buzzing. White as well. It was at 1.2 litre.
The last sport you played that wasn't football?
Paddle tennis.
Can you elaborate on what paddle tennis is?
I'm basically a professional at paddle tennis at the minute. It's like, think of a squash court with a tennis court as well. So it's like a tennis court with a glass all the way around it, with tennis balls and then little like hard tennis rackets that are smaller than like a normal tennis racket. So it's about that big. It's effectively the same rules of tennis, but you can hit it off the walls and stuff. So.
Excellent. And does anyone else in the squad play with you?
A few of the boys have mentioned it. So Bill, I've mentioned it. Bill, my partner's Matt Kilgallen. So obviously Blades fans will know him, but we're unbeaten at the minute. So if anyone wants to take us on, I think Bill's going to get a partner and come and play us. So yeah, we're taking challenges.
Last music act that you saw live?
Oh, last music act that I saw live. It'll have been Leeds Fest, so whoever was at Leeds Fest that year. I can't really remember much.
Last film that you went to see at the cinema?
Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man I went to see, but the cinema that I went to was terrible and like the screen was tiny and stuff, so I didn't get the full experience.
Last Netflix show that you binge watched?
I binge watched a few. I've just finished the new season of Ozark. That's very good for anyone who's wondering.
And finally, the last thing that you ate?
What did I just eat then? I had, I don't even know what it was, like breaded Parmesan chicken with some spaghetti and some broccoli and hot chocolate.
I'm not as sure that I'd ever have Ollie McBurney down as a paddleboard tennis player, but there you go, you learn new things in these segments. He's one of a number of striking options available, of course, to Paul Heckingbottom, looking at them there. And I know, certainly on social media today, Carl, you were advocating him getting 2 more games on the back of having 90 minutes both on Tuesday and last Saturday. He starts on the bench today, but he does give Hecky an alternative.
Of course, he's a great option from the bench. I just felt he needed pitch. He's looked a yard off, and he's been getting better. He's been getting chances. His cameos when he's come on as sub, he's been outstanding the last couple of games. And the fans are behind him. You know, they're really frustrated that he's not scored, but they're desperate for him to score. I just hope he does as well, because we need someone else to step up. You can't be relying on Billy. You can see our goal difference. We need more goals, and he's done it before. You know, there's a reason we paid the money. There's a lot of belief in the lad.
He does give you the option of being direct, doesn't he, Kevin?
Yes, if we need to go direct, yeah, hopefully it won't come to that. But I'm just looking at that graphic and I'm just hoping and praying that Billy Sharp doesn't get injured. You know, because we are so reliant on him at the moment, aren't we? obviously with McGoldrick and Brewster out, you know, he has our main man. So yeah, as Carl said, we need McBurney to come good, whether it be off the bench or from his starting position. We don't know. I mean, we don't look to have that many options, do we? We've got 3 youngsters out of those 5 there. Jefferson's completely untried, really. I do hope we see him today at some stage. I think he needs 15-20 minutes to get back in the lane, get a good reception and to build his confidence up a bit. Although he shouldn't need building up too much because he's done fantastically well at Burton, of course, scored lots of goals. But and Jai and Gibbs White, good players, but still young lads. There's not a lot of experience there. So heavily reliant on Billy. What does Daniel Jefferson potentially give you? We've seen some of the goals that he scored in a Blade shirt. He got 7 whilst on loan at Burton Albion, Carl.
And unpredictability, you know, of youth. He's got the qualities, he's got all the assets to be a top striker, but what he also has is the element of surprise. These players have not played against him. That's why I was a little disappointed we didn't see him for 10 minutes the other night, because we'd had 80 minutes of Hull playing against McBurney and knowing roughly what he's going to come short. He's got good touch. You've got Billy, we know he's just going to score against you. But Jefferson, he's unorthodox. He may run where someone else wouldn't, and not necessarily the right place, but it could bounce to him. And it's worth giving him a chance. I believe he's going to be part of our strike force for next season. I think next season our strike force, you're going to have Brewster, you're going to have Jefferson, and it's the other positions that are up for grabs. I do feel we have good options.
And I'd imagine, Kevin, as well, with obviously McGoldrick injured, Brewster out for certainly what we expect to be the remainder of the regular season, don't know about the playoffs. Daniel Jefferson at some point is going to have a role to play here, isn't he?
100%, yeah. I'm with Carl. I would have brought him on for 15-20 minutes here the other night. I think the longer it remains 0-0 today, I think he'll definitely get a run out today. Hopefully it will be when we're 2-3-0 up and he can relax into the game and just find his feet there. But he's got a huge future at Sheffield United. Hopefully at Sheffield United anyway. I hope we don't sell him too soon. He's been brilliant at Burton. I know a season ticket holder there who thinks the world of him, thinks he's fantastic and predicts good things for him. So he's been brilliant at Burton. And yeah, let's give him a run out. Let's see what he's got. Well, a player we haven't spoken much about so far today is Jayden Bogle, as he looks to come back from a niggling knee injury. In his absence, George Baldock has filled in more than capably on that right side for the Blades. And in an SUTV Live exclusive, he caught up with our very own Matt Young.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, you know, football's not as easy as, you know, looking at fixture lists, and, you know, I think a lot of people would have looked at that game and thought it was an easy 3 points, but it was anything but that. I mean, we created enough chances to win, but, you know, they defended really well, and, you know, the third game in 6 days, you know, might have taken its toll a little bit. But, you know, it was a positive performance, and again, on another day we win 2 or 3.
Yet another clean sheet as well. It does seem to be a real added steal about Sheffield United at the moment.
Yeah, 100%, and we had that in the year we got promoted. You know, we were very hard to beat, very few chances on goal. And, you know, it just gives us that platform to then, you know if we can score 1 or 2, then we've got a great chance of holding on and winning the game.
Tell me about the impact of the staff and the management team here in getting all these clean sheets. There must be a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of organisation, not a lot of analysis, but I think the main thing is just the intensity. Intensity we train at, intensity we're playing at the minute. You know, defending from the front. You know, the press starts from the front 3 or front 2, whichever formation we play, and, you know, everyone's on the same page. You know, we go through it a lot of detail on the training pitch, and the manager and his staff, you know, kind of leave no stone unturned, and everyone knows what they're doing. You're back in the side, of course, 3 games straight now, 2 on the left, but nice to be back on the right, I'd imagine. Yeah, but you know, I enjoyed both. You know, it's different, of course. You know, it poses different you know, threats. But the thing is, you know, you just like playing football and you like to be out there and, you know, feel the atmosphere again and get back playing and competing for points, and, you know, that's all I wanted to do. 16 games remain, 10 of which are at home. How important will that be? Yeah, huge. You know, we know how hard it can be for the opposition when our crowd are behind us. You know, I even said before, you know, in an interview, must have been a year and a half ago, I remember Bukayo Saka saying to me, you know, in lockdown, how different it is, and you know, how much easier it is to play at our stadium when there was no fans.
So you know, we know the impact it has on opposition players as well as ourselves, and you know, it's going to be vitally important.
Swansea next, what kind of game can we expect from them? I suspect it'll be different to what we experienced on Tuesday night.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, the manager's gone in there. He was really successful at my old club at MK Dons, and you know, I spoke to a few people there, and it's, you know, it's total football. You know, risk the ball a lot, but also like to attack and play very, very good football. So it's going to be different. I think it's going to be a lot more open than the game against Hull, because I just think that they back themselves to play football and play for anyone in the division, which, you know, is you know, I really like that from their manager. But you know, we know that we've got the quality in here to hurt the opposition, and looking forward to it.
The thoughts of George Baldock there ahead of this afternoon's game. Interestingly, Kevin Gage, he thinks it'll be more open. If so, does that suit Sheffield United?
An open game will, yeah, because we can play like our expansive, you know, football. We'll have Norwood in this quarterback role, like pinging his balls around, getting his radar in tune. So yeah, I hope it is an open game. I don't want to be a game of attrition or anything like that. Let's hope he's right.
Quickly, before we let you go and join Matt Young in the commentary box, prediction?
We're due some goals. We've had enough shots, we've had enough chances, so we're due some goals. So I can see us scoring at least 2, so I'm going 2-0.
I'll take that, as will every Blades fan. OK, we're fast closing in on kick-off. Thanks to Kevin Gage. You'll hear from him again shortly at kick-off. Let's hear, first of all, though, from the manager, Paul Heckingbottom.
Yeah, they're a difficult team to play against because they like to dominate the ball. They like to frustrate by having possession, and yeah, I can't see them playing any other way really. You know, we're probably one of the two of the teams who have the most possession, so someone's going to have less than normal, you know, and someone's going to have to be just as good without the ball as they are with it on Saturday. So we'll prepare for that. We sort of know what we're going to face. They'll be saying the same thing. So yeah, we'll approach it in the same way, respect them. We know what they're going to bring. We know how tough they are, and they've got some good players. But we're at home, and we want to play with the same sort of tempo and control the game and be as aggressive as we were the other night. But this time, get the goals and get the 3 points.
Are you preparing, though, potentially to have less of the ball this weekend if Swansea are going to keep more of the football?
No, I don't think we'll change our approach. I just think we will probably have less, because I don't think they'll come and play any different to what they have done in all the other games this season. You know, some teams have come, especially in the last sort of couple of months. Some teams have come to Bramall Lane and not really been intent on having a ball and trying to slow the game and, like I said, deny us, which means we do have more of the ball. So I think in that respect it'll be much more even. And you know, like I said, we know how to still create chances by having less of the ball, and we'd be comfortable with that as well. Some of our best chances may come from how we defend without the ball. So yeah, we'll accept both, but like I say, we'll just look to get the 3 points. So whether it's dominating the ball and creating chances through possession, or winning the ball and attacking quick, we'll be prepared for either.
The thoughts of manager Paul Heckingbottom there as the players take to the pitch here at Bramall Lane. And a reminder, to see the game live, you'll need to buy a match pass, and you can do that by going to the website at sufc.co.uk. Carl Asaba, final thoughts as we close in on kick-off. 3 points has got to be the aim today, and it would be a big step towards breaking into that top 6.
Yeah, if they can repeat the performances they put in the other night and just add the final touches, we'll be in for a good match. I also want to say I've been so excited by their set pieces so far this season, so maybe a goal from a corner.
Ollie Norwood's cultured boot.
Yes.
Simple. Prediction?
3-0, 3-1.
3-0, 3-1. Kevin Gage went for 2-0. It's all heading in the right direction. We just need the team to deliver on the pitch and to take you through all of the action. In a moment, you'll hear from Kevin Gage. But first of all, your match commentator, Matt Young.
2 points is all that separates United and the top 6 as the relentless nature of the Sky Bet Championship continues with a visit of Swansea City this afternoon. The Blades unbeaten in 7, but frustrated by lowly Hull in midweek for evidence of the competitive nature of this division. Bramall Lane